Meghan Markle here.
Next tweet. Okay, for what it's worth, I think this is a phenomenally bad idea. You can talk about global Britain in 1 minute and then reduce FCDO staff by 20% and the next. Breathe, and it's not about leading the world, it's about being part of a global conversation. Those in FCDO have an amp role. Okay, the Foreign Office is planning to reduce staff numbers by 20%, and the move that former ambassadors have said could severely damage Britain's global reputation. The thing that I'm feeling here, these people came to make damage. Okay, while they're at it, they know they're gonna be outed because there's so many things that keeps on piling up. They're lying and do this cover up after cover up. All right, they came for destruction. Remember how I said it's easy to destruct than to build. It takes decades, centuries, a lifetime, or even more to build things. But when it's time to destroy, it's easy. One of the examples that I give is the World Trade Center. How long did it take to build? And look how quick it was destroyed. This is the thing here. These people were put in place to come and destroy. And then every time the citizen get to realize what they're doing, what do they throw? The race card. This is the thing that is how do you call this, the sickness, the cancer of around the world. The master plan, someone have a very master plan. Whenever he needs his stuff to be done, is draw the race card and everybody goes crazy. They forgot all about their problems. All right, so that's that. And by the time they realize this, guess what? They're gonna throw another shiny object and then go back to the race card. Everybody forgot the problems again. So we have to blame ourselves as part of this. Okay, many of us just love to sit back and watch, thinking someone else is gonna do the work, even though you see and you see the thing is happening. You cannot just sit back. I'm not saying not everybody wants to go protest, not everybody wants to do certain other things, do speeches around the world or things like that. Not everybody wants to do that, but there are small little roles each one of us can do, especially when it's time to vote. We want democracy. This is how democracy works. Go vote. You see the problem that's going on, and there's gonna be another video that I'm gonna put out later. It's regarding Denmark. There's an article I came across. I just saw the headline. I saved it for me to share with you. I didn't read it yet, but yeah, let's see here. Business, never mind. Others need local intelligence and support. How governments say look outward, then draw back the stepping stone at embassies and consulates. Okay, I think reducing this current lot of UK politician footprint on the world will do no harm at all. And remember what I said in one of my videos that had the UK flag? In that video, I said that someone who has a special interest, or maybe a group of people, business people, who have special interests around those Commonwealth. So what are they doing now? They're making steps to make sure when it's time for them to move and corrupt those how do you call this, those politicians and those places, so they could go ahead and do as they please. Okay, so this is the stepping stone for that. This is the stepping stone for that. Start removing, reducing the presence of the UK around these places for the Commonwealth to be by itself. Okay, and then once they're ready to go do their business, they move in, so there won't be no one to push back, because many of these how do you call this, those Commonwealth countries, those islands are not that strong in terms of protection, military, this kind of thing. And this is why the Caribbean needs to create their own union kind of thing. Okay, I've said this is the step for that. Okay, all of them, I don't know, I'm not a freaking mastermind, but this is the step that I see is going on here. All right, let's see here. It's just symptomatic of the underinvestment in the country for 40 years. Road, transport, housing, education, health, public services, etc., etc. This is what low tax metro really means. Okay, they're more interested in force projection with aircraft carriers than nuisance diplomacy. It's conducting international relations with crayons. As for hollowing out the diplomatic corps while pursuing global trade partnership, that's a contradiction. Remember, these places, I'm talking in terms of the Caribbean, the whole premises of them bringing the transatlantic slaves trade and things like that, it was for business. Okay, money is the foundation of that. So they're gonna pick up where they left, their great grandfather left. I don't know, these people can never have enough. And this is why many of these Caribbean countries need to pay attention. All right, don't put how do you call this, corrupt politician in there, because through transatlantic slave trade that was happening, we have our own people who was selling us out. All right, so these type of people still exist, so we need to pay attention. All right, I read a memoir from a UK diplomat specialized in commerce talking about embassy work in Bulgaria in the 1960s. He was the only commercial specialist and he only half-time. The Germans back then in Bulgaria had 6 trade specialists there, big long-term differences. Okay, true for the 1960s. This is a digital world now. Okay, how much of this is driven by the merge of FCO and the FID? Presumably, doing so means there are duplicate function that can be pruned. Anyway, this could go on. I thought that was it is a video. No, that's a GIF. But people need to pay attention. People need to pay attention. All right. So they want to pick up wherever that some of the things have stopped. They want to continue. And the other thing I want to add now that I'm editing this video is that based on some of the analysis that I'm seeing here, when you see all of those immigrants moving out of their country, going to another country, they doing this on purpose. The people who are in power, pushing them out. Why? These people, when they vote, they will vote against those who are in power. So what do? They're getting them out of there. So they have their own people voting for them. So those voice of those immigrants leaving those countries will not be heard because they left. So we all screwed. We are screwed big time. Big time. Okay? So when you look at, for instance, in the US, where all of those immigrants were leaving, I'm not talking in terms of Haiti right now. Okay, the other ones were coming from South America. Why were they moving? Why were they leaving? Okay, what countries were they moving from? Why were they leaving? Who were those people in power at the time when they were moving? Okay, so they know if this group of people, the one who were at the border of Mexico and the United States, okay, wherever they were coming from, who was in power during that time? So why were they pushing them out? It's because of voting. So this group of people will not be there to vote, to cast their voice. So therefore, they push them out of there. Their own people will be voting them in. So it will show as if it's democracy. We're living a whole bunch of mess for our grandchildren, a whole bunch of mess for our great grandchildren, and some of them will be benefit from it, others will still be struggling. I'm just saying. Like I said, I don't have a crystal ball in front of me, but you could see the pattern of things. The transatlantic slave trade was there to create production from those crops. We had people, you know, planting for them and all of that. So once they realize that this is stopped, so they're getting. The main reason is that is uh, the type of weather we have in those places that can grow crops all year round. So they need that. Their homeland don't have that. This is why those places are very precious. All right, so I just want to leave this there, and that's it. I don't know what to say anymore. All right, next tweet thing here. Okay, one of the most intriguing development in Human Rights Act saga, GCHQ, MI15 and MI16 don't want at Dominic Raab to meddle with HRA. Why though? Because they fear that with HRA gone, suspected terrorists will go directly to Strasbourg and enjoy wider protection there. That is no secret evidence. People need to open their eyes. Okay? I don't know what's really in the UK, but the steps to get these business people do as they please when they get in power, they just want to make sure when they're ready, they could do as they please. But the thing is that nobody live forever. Nobody live forever. People need to put a stop to it. Okay, see you in Strasbourg. Okay, replying Adam Wagner. He will meddle. Entire purpose is to please Daily Mail and low information voters couldn't care less about security. Alright, so I came across this. I'm sharing them with you. Alright, and I have something, another video that's gonna discuss about January 6th in the US. It's not like the US is completely free here. Alright, next tweet. Fair play to Viscount Rothermere for getting rid of an editor last month who had the PM running scared and replacing him with a Johnson cheerleader who just got rinsed and caught by Meghan Markle. When I saw that, that's the only reason I wanted to share this with you. This one, okay? Who just got rinsed and caught by Meghan Markle. Okay, let's see here. Who just got look at other squad seated. Oh, I responded to it December 12th, 2 days ago. Alright, who just got rinsed and caught by Meghan Markle. Okay, I so do love your way with words. I was like, I know, right? 13 people like that. Okay, Meghan had already won the court case against the Daily Mail, but William and Kate sent Jason Kenoff, who is still CEO of the Royal Foundation, to present new evidence, edited emails, and help the Daily Mail. Down here, William, Kate, and Jason together at COP26 in Glasgow. I think I showed this in one of the videos, but for the purpose of this, there's that. Let me share it with you. Look at his eyes. Look at his eyes in the back here. Very creepy looking. Yes, more. Cheering. The master plan, they think their master plan has worked until it reaches the court. Okay, a former employee with access to email. What kind of HR do they have at the palace? Let's see here. Show more replies. There's this. Okay, the corrupt kind. I don't think he has access initially, hence why he did not use them in the first case before appeal. I believe they gave him permission to access and use them, which is even worse in my opinion. I mean, they went back to their drawing board thinking they could help the Daily Mail. That's the thing here. They went back to their drawing board, and then the court said, get the F out of here with this nonsense. Meghan is telling you she doesn't want her thing to made public. Alright, let's see here. Kensington Palace is a revolving door for the corrupt Tories, Murdoch and Afro Rothermere. Imagine all the shit they are sitting for each other. Okay, he is such a patriot. We are lucky to have people like him. Okay, well, there's him. Yeah, I think this guy in one of my videos, I believe if he does one of those DNA tests, somewhere down the line, I think he has a black person in his gene. Alright, he's just one of those who pass for white. Alright, pays no UK tax on £1 billion fortune. For tax avoiding purposes, Tory boy Jonathan is French. He inherited his title and a controlling stake in his lying rag from his father. See, all of this is to protect what they have. I wonder, okay. And one of the videos where I said I believe he is black, where I was looking at how the tabloid came about, one person in that video reminds me of him. He looks just like him, and I believe he has some black blood in his gene. All right, but of course, continue to live happily in the UK on a permanent basis, all courtesy of one of those very agreeable HMRC sweetheart deals. Okay, ban bag on cameras, future was FFS. Okay, there's more things here. No, it's a curtain. There are other photos of this room that shows them and not the camera. Public trust, Boris Johnson. Wow, why will the BBC do this? Oh my goodness. Okay, I have no idea what Ted Verity looks like, so I always think of this character when his name come up. Is this about right? It reminds me a little bit of Benny Hill. Let me move on. Alright, let me move on. I have two more. I really want to make this video quick. It's 26 minutes. This one is a bit politics video. Oh, this might actually take all. Okay, thread 1 of 4. We've been taken aback by the response of our number 10 Christmas party video. They've been watched over 11 million times in 9 days, and I thought it'd be useful to put them in one place. We posted the first one on December 2nd, okay, 2 days after the storybook. Alright, 4 minutes and 32 and 36 seconds. And there's 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 7 minutes. Okay, so that might be it all for this. Let's hear.
In December last year, COVID cases were rising, restrictions were being tightened and Christmas plans were being changed. On the 16th of December, Boris Johnson made this plea.
This Christmas, it's vital that everyone exercises the greatest possible personal responsibility.
Okay, everyone but him and the people who are in office. All right, I have to stop somewhere.
Also on the 16th of December, London went into Tier 3 restrictions. This meant no person may participate in a gathering unless it was reasonably necessary for work. The guidance said, although there are exemptions for work purposes, you must not have a Christmas lunch or party where that is a primarily social activity. That was the 16th. On the 18th, a senior doctor described the situation.
We are now at a really dangerous point where we could tip into finding it incredibly difficult to manage.
Also on the 18th of December, 514 COVID-19 deaths were recorded in the UK. And in the morning that day, Boris Johnson tweeted, if you're forming a Christmas bubble, it's vital that from today you minimise contact with people from outside your household.
This is the thing. They're putting the word... I mean, this is why so many people are protesting around Europe. You have these people who's trying... I don't even know what to say. Let's listen.
Everyone must take personal responsibility, we were advised. Hours after that tweet was posted, in the evening of the 18th, there was a Christmas party in number 10. We know about it because the Daily Mirror reported how officials knocked back glasses of wine during a Christmas quiz and a secret Santa.
This is the thing here. You think people around you are your friend? They just want to make money. They just want to make money. All these people who were at the party, they went there to tittle-tattle kind of thing. You're saying one thing and then they're taking note for them to write about it. And they're outing each other.
The Mirror described how 40 or 50 people were said to have been crammed cheek by jowl into a medium-sized room. It was a COVID nightmare, one source says. There is, I should add, no suggestion the Prime Minister was at that party. The BBC's Laura Kunsberg soon had more details. Laura reported there had been several dozen people in attendance with food, drink and even games on offer, with the event going on past midnight. Or, as the BBC's Chris Mason later reported...
We know from a source that there were drinks and there were nibbles and there were games.
Drink.
And you know what's kind of weird about this? I mean... they're not hiding any of this stuff. Okay? People know the truth, the way these politicians operate, but yet they keep on voting them in. They keep on voting them in. Oh my goodness.
Drinks, nibbles, games. And so it was that we saw this exchange at Prime Minister's Questions this week.
Does the Prime Minister really expect the country to believe that while people were banned from seeing their loved ones at Christmas last year, it was fine for him and his friends to throw a boozy party in Downing Street?
What I can tell the right honourable gentleman is that all guidance was followed completely during number 10.
So which means he's not disputing it. So all guides were followed. He didn't say no, there was no party. It's just that during the party, everything was followed according to rules, kind of thing. Let's listen to it a little bit more.
In Downing Street.
What I can tell the right honourable gentleman is that all guidance was followed completely during number 10.
The Prime Minister's spokesperson also commented, saying, "We don't recognise these accounts and all COVID rules have been followed at all times." They were then asked by a journalist, "Were you guys at these parties or didn't you get invited?" To which they replied, "I don't have anything on that." And we don't have...
They don't have anything on that. You don't remember if you went there? Oh my goodness. Oh, Lord.
...have anything explaining how this party could be within the rules. Because as BBC Reality Check notes, any party at Downing Street would have breached the government's guidelines at the time. Or as Chris Mason put it,
if something looks like a duck, walks like a duck and quacks, it probably is a duck.
And as the week has gone on, more anonymous claims have emerged. One Downing Street insider told the FT there were often get-togethers in the evenings in number 10 while the country was in lockdown last Christmas. It was the only place you could get together and socialise. They happened most Fridays, the source said. Another source told them...
Most Friday. So every weekend, the last Friday of the week, they go and hang out. Oh, Lord.
But the Prime Minister gave the impression that it could be very relaxed in number 10. He would either turn a blind eye or on some occasions attend himself while everyone else was in lockdown. Or there's The Guardian. It reports one source saying there were loads of leaving parties and unplanned social events that took place in Downing Street throughout the second and third lockdowns. Again, number 10 insists rules have always been followed. But for some, the reports of the party on December the 18th have been hard to hear. The psychologist, Dr. Pam Jarvis, has tweeted, "My brother died in hospital on the 18th of December last year. He hadn't seen any family in real life for over a month due to lockdown." Or there's Sophia Nar. Her father caught COVID in December and died in February.
Oh,
I think...
God. These people need to vote. Don't vote based on race. Vote on the substance that you see going on and you're experiencing.
The fact that they had this party, this alleged party, is it's just really upsetting. It's upsetting. It's really insulting. It's really disgusting, to be honest.
The morning after the games, drinks and nibbles in Downing Street, the Prime Minister was to ask even more of people. Having repeatedly said he wouldn't change the rules at Christmas, Mr Johnson made this announcement.
It is with a very heavy heart, I must tell you, we cannot continue with Christmas as planned.
Millions of Christmas gatherings had to be cancelled, less than 24 hours after Downing Street had had a gathering of its own. And while the Prime Minister maintains this didn't break the rules, he's offered no evidence to explain why.
And the thing is that those people stand in front of you lying and everybody around them goes along with it. That's the thing here. They're standing on national television lying to the people and everyone around them join in to shut their mouth to keep the lie going. All right, this one is another 5 minutes. All right, 2 of 4. The second video came on 6 December as the government insists not only were rules not broken last December, but there was not a party. All right, let's hear here. I think part of it was mentioned on the previous video.
Last December, there was a Christmas party at number 10. A week since we learned about it, Boris Johnson's spokesperson insists there was not a party at number 10. The party took place when COVID rules made such gatherings illegal. Boris Johnson's spokesperson said, "I don't need to get into the positions we've taken, it's simply a statement of fact." But this isn't simple, because ever since the Daily Mirror broke the story, the government's been trying to explain that what happened was within the rules and that it wasn't a party.
Daily Mirror. So these are one of their mouthpiece who don't give a damn. They want to go into your privacy and all of that. And this doggy dog world, there's nobody's anybody's friend.
Party, without offering any evidence to back up either claim. There was this from the Prime Minister last Wednesday.
All guidance was followed completely during number 10.
Then there was the Vaccines Minister, Maggie Throop, on Question Time last Thursday.
I have been reassured that all guidance was carefully followed as it continues.
Does that answer your question?
No.
No evidence was offered to justify that reassurance. Then at the weekend, we heard from Dominic Raab, the Justice Secretary and Deputy Prime Minister, who appeared on Andrew Marr's programme.
Last Christmas, were Christmas parties allowed in London?
So look, if you're... so generally, no.
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 This is backed up by BBC Reality Check, which notes any party at Downing Street would have breached the government's guidelines at the time. When shown the guidance, Mr Raab agreed that its meaning was clear.
Of course, if there was a formal party held, of course, that's something that was clearly contrary to the guidance that you just cited.
The Justice Secretary talked there about a formal party, but the law made no distinction between types of party. It stated that no person may participate in a gathering in the Tier 3 area which consists of 2 or more.
I'm laughing because the whole point was the gathering. People should not be gathering to not spread the thing. Now they start distinguishing it, the type of party. Was birthday party? I'm just doing my own thing here now. Was it a birthday party or retirement party? Was it whatever? But these people are funny. How they switch topics so quickly. But anyway, let's listen. My goodness.
People and takes place in any indoor space. Government guidance at the time said you must not have a work, Christmas lunch or party where that's a primarily social activity. But on what happened in Downing Street, Mr Raab said it's impossible to answer the allegations on the basis of anonymous sources. The Justice Secretary did, though, accept this.
We can agree it was wrong. If it happened, it was wrong.
If something unsubstantiated from anonymous sources actually materialised, then of course it would be wrong.
Materialising information on this, though...
He switched it. It's like if it, something they make up or something like that, of course it is wrong. But the whole focus was if there was a party, it was wrong. Switch. I'm telling you, these people are good. You gotta give them credit for this, though. You have to give them credit. They are good at switching words around.
Remember, as one source told the BBC, food and drink was laid on for staff, including those from the press office and the number 10 events team, and party games were played. These are people who worked closely with the government, who were working in number 10. And yet on Monday, the government was still questioning if something that we know happened had happened. The Crime and Policing Minister, Kit Malthouse, talked to BBC Breakfast.
I don't even know if an event took place, but if it did, that no rules were broken.
The Crime and Policing Minister...
If it did, no rules were broken. The whole point was no gathering because of COVID. Oh my goodness.
Doesn't know if the event took place, but an event did take place. An event that, if multiple accounts are correct, would have breached government guidelines. That party took place on the 18th of December. There are also multiple reports of another event on the 27th of November. The Guardian says this was a leaving party, believed to have been for Cleo Watson, a former aide to Dominic.
Oh, that's the thing. Different type of party. Oh my goodness. When you give them power, this is why they wanted the court system under their hands. So they could do whatever they want, and then you take them to court, they always win. My goodness.
There are also multiple reports of another event on the 27th of November. The Guardian says this was a leaving party, believed to have been for Cleo Watson, a former aide to Dominic Cummings. It goes on to say a source with knowledge of the gathering said Johnson came in and made a speech mentioning how crowded it was in the room before leaving shortly afterwards to continue working. At this time, there was a national lockdown. Indoor social gatherings were banned unless within a household bubble. And police were looking for rule breakers. Weeks later, on the 17th of December, the Met told us how officers have shut...
Was it the police were looking for rule breakers and it was right there in their home, in their backyard? Oh my goodness. Sorry.
And police were looking for rule breakers. Weeks later, on the 17th of December, the Met told us how officers have shut down a wedding where 40 people were in attendance. It went on. Holding large gatherings could be the difference between life and death for someone else. London is in Tier 3. You must not mix inside with anyone who is not in your household or support bubble. Also in December last year, Leicestershire Police shared this video showing a raid on a gathering.
Everyone out now! Whoa. If you don't live here, get out!
Guys, what is over, yeah?
The party was over. 2 people got £10,000 fines each for a gathering of 60. And the police continue to take action now. Here's Tristan Kirk of the Evening Standard reporting the Met Police happens to be, this week, prosecuting an alleged illegal gathering on December the 18th last year. Not in Downing Street, but a house in Ilford. Remember that one source had told the BBC the Downing Street party in December was attended by several dozen people. But this weekend, the Met said this. it's our policy not to routinely investigate retrospective breaches of the COVID-19 regulations. And in response to letters from Labour MPs, it said, we will, however, consider the correspondence received. And while we all consider the gap between government assurances and available evidence, the Prime Minister has been launching a clampdown on drug dealers. And he's been asked again about last December, to which Mr Johnson told the Liverpool Echo, on this business that's in the media constantly, all I can say is no COVID rules were broken, and there you go.
So why was he wearing a police uniform? Is that illegal to be impersonating a police? I don't know.
And so, once again, we have Mr Johnson telling us rules weren't broken in Downing Street while offering no explanation of how this can be true. And now we have Mr Johnson's spokesperson saying a party didn't happen when, by all other accounts, it did.
It did happen. All right, the next one is 3 or 4 on Tuesday night. ITV released the leaked video from the Downing Street briefing room. On Wednesday 8, we posted this further update. All 3 videos were produced by Michael Cox J with great help from the rest of the outside source team. Alright, so the credit is going to this guy. Okay, news producer, BBC OS, BBC World TV, 1,496 followers. I have a feeling he's like this guy who was saying all the stuff about it may not be him, but let me not say what I think because it may not be him. Alright, 5 minutes and close to 6 minutes.
Late last year, staff in Downing Street were filmed asking 2 questions.
Would the Prime Minister condone having a Christmas?
What's the answer?
Also late last year, COVID was spiralling, and Boris Johnson had decided this.
It is with a very heavy heart, I must tell you, we cannot continue with Christmas as planned.
That was the 19th of December. By the 22nd, more than 10,000 COVID deaths had been recorded that month. Also on the 22nd, a rehearsal was taking place. Number 10 had a new press secretary, Allegra Stratton. It had a new press briefing room too. And Allegra Stratton was taking questions from colleagues who were playing the role of journalists. We know this because of a video obtained by ITV News.
I've just seen reports on Twitter that there was a Downing Street Christmas party on Friday night. Do you recognise those reports?
I went home. Hold on.
Would the Prime Minister condone having a Christmas?
What's the answer?
Would the Prime Minister
She doesn't want to say something and then get punished by his colleagues. My goodness, people can tell the truth.
condone having a Christmas party? It was a relevant question because 4 days earlier there had been a party in number 10. And ever since the Mirror broke the story last week, we've had the chance to see what the Prime Minister thinks of that. First, Mr Johnson took this approach.
All guidance was followed completely during number 10.
No evidence, though, was offered. Then the Deputy Prime Minister was asked if the party had happened.
What I know is that you've got, from all the sources you referred to, unsubstantiated claims being made and all on the basis of anonymous sources.
Remember, this was a party in number 10 and attended by number 10 staff. Checking these claims would not be hard to do then or now.
All of them wants to keep their mouth shut. I feel like I showed that, but anyway, I think this thread I'm gonna put by itself.
Next, another minister offered this defence.
I don't even know if an event took place, but if it did, that no rules were broken.
Kit Malthouse didn't know if it had happened, but if it had, it didn't break the rules. The Prime Minister's spokesperson then went further. On Monday, he insisted there was not a party at number 10, adding it's simply a statement of fact. Then, after the ITV video was released, he said there was no Christmas party. COVID rules have been followed at all times. Again, evidence was not offered to back this up. And anger at the ITV video was growing. Jackie Green's mum died from COVID on the day of the December party.
I think it's totally reprehensible, actually. When I first saw it, I had no words, to be honest.
Well, at Prime Minister's questions, Boris Johnson found these words on the video.
I apologise unreservedly for the offence that it has caused up and down the country, and I apologise for the impression that it gives.
Man, at the cost of people's lives, this is the thing people need to pay attention. Don't wait until it's you. They're doing all that BS, and meanwhile, you guys are suffering. Believe me, that's happening in the US too. Okay? Sheesh.
There were more apologies to come. Allegra Stratton, now an advisor to Mr Johnson, was next.
My remarks seemed to make light of the rules. Rules that people were doing everything to obey. That was never my intention.
Wow, that just reminded me of the... They probably forced her to make that apology, to make things go away. You know what that remind me of? Oh, what's her name? Dawn. I found her name. Butler. Okay, Dawn Butler, who stood in front of Parliament and called Boris Johnson a liar, and then they asked her to do apology. She said no, because she saw what she can't lie to her eyes. Her eyes were telling her the truth and saw that the guy was lying. So I'm pretty sure they did the same thing with her. Force her to apologize to make this thing go away. Oh my God, it's the same thing. In my humble opinion, that's what I see here. Man, how is these people's conscience are gonna keep them? All right, let's continue. We'll see what she's saying here. Let's listen. Oh shoot.
Asking to there were.
Where is it?
That was never my intention. I will regret those remarks for the rest of my days, and I offer my profound apologies to all of you at home.
Allegra Stratton also resigned. Her resignation is about the video, but on the party, Mr Johnson's latest response still doesn't match the available evidence.
And the thing is that she didn't even say anything. It's like she wants to tell the truth, but she knows the consequences if she tells the truth. So she was like, what is the answer? You know? But I don't know.
Repeatedly assured, since these allegations emerged, that there was no party and that no COVID rules were broken, and that is what I have been repeatedly assured.
Now, this is a shift in language from explicit denials to referencing assurances from others, but on the fundamentals of Number 10's message, they remain. No party, no breaking of the rules, and the opposition doesn't buy it.
Millions of people now think the Prime Minister was taking them for fools and that they were lied to.
And while these political...
But these people are voting for them. So then the last election put majority of these people, the Tories, back in. I don't know. So they're doing a good job at fooling them.
Tussles play out, the focus on the party remains. The former Number 10 advisor Tim Montgomery asks of those who attended, what were they thinking? Well, we don't know yet, but we know the party happened and we're learning more about it. This week, The Times reports that it's understood to have been organised via a WhatsApp group with staff asked to bring secret Santa presents. We're also told some of those present also wore Christmas jumpers. The Times source added that there was a proper spread of food that people had brought along with alcohol. Secret Santa, Christmas jumpers, a proper spread. And then this is more from the ITV video.
What's the answer?
I don't know. It wasn't a party, it was cheese and wine.
Was that the same lady who was making the apology?
Is cheese and wine all right? No. It was a business meeting.
It wasn't a party, it was cheese and wine, or a business meeting.
Oh.
Now, we don't know which event is being referenced here, or if it's a joke, but cheese joke or not, it's worth us remembering the rules, that any party at Downing Street would have breached the government's guidelines at the time. And some Tories are furious about what happened.
Angry, annoyed and really disappointed that all of this undermines the public trust that people have in the guidance they are being asked to follow, and they did follow last year when it looks like people in Downing Street didn't.
And in an effort to respond to these concerns, the Prime Minister has also made this announcement.
I've asked the Cabinet Secretary to establish all the facts and to report back as soon as possible.
It's like creating investigation after investigation after investigation. You'll never get to it. They're just creating more chaos before you get to the point of it.
But Mr Johnson has been repeatedly saying there was no party, that no rules were broken. Now he appears to have ordered an investigation to see if what he was saying was true. And as I finish, let's return to where we started.
Did the Prime Minister condone having a Christmas?
What's the answer?
What's the answer, Allegra Stratton asks. And over a week since we learnt about this party, we're still waiting for the Prime Minister to tell us exactly what happened last December in Downing Street.
I don't know. If you have to work for somebody like this, where you can't really tell the truth, there's no point of working with them. Phew, she wants to tell the truth, but she can't. And then from saying the other thing, and you realize they want her out for saying some of the thing that she said. But anyway,
Pippa, if I could start with you. You started this ball rolling last week. When did you first hear about the party?
Well, I actually first heard rumours way back in January, but they were just that, and I wasn't able to substantiate. I tried my best, but didn't manage to get there. And then about a month ago, I got handed what I'd describe as a metaphorical brown paper envelope, which contained enough evidence in it for me to start asking questions again. So I then spent several weeks speaking to sources about whether a party had taken place, and then once I'd established that it had, speaking to them about who was at it, what was done at the party, you know, the Secret Santa and the festive games and drinks and nibbles and so on. And then we were just really waiting for a moment that it would be the right time to publish.
So you come back to this story, you start having lots of conversations building on what you'd first heard about in January. Can you pinpoint a moment when you thought, my goodness, this is a huge...
This is the thing with journalism. They see something, they hear something, they feel something, they go after it to tell the truth. And this is what's keeping the UK right now. Some journalists are fighting, all right? The ones who's not bending to the establishment. They want the truth, the people to know the truth. Phew, thank God for them.
Huge story.
Well, last Tuesday I was sitting in the number 9 briefing room, the same room, in fact, that Paul's video, the video that Paul and ITV showed of Allegra Stratton was filmed in, and listening to the Prime Minister's official spokesman at the normal lobby briefing. And that morning on the radio, Dr. Jenny Harris, the government, the UK Health Security Agency chief, had suggested that people might want to be a bit careful about how they socialised at Christmas and cut back on that in the coming weeks because of obviously the emergence of the Omicron variant. And with that at the back of our minds, we were all asking questions of the PM spokesman about whether we should be having Christmas parties, whether it was wise to follow her advice and what the official guidance was. And he made it quite clear that the official guidance at that time was not to cut back on Christmas parties, that these things could go ahead. Was really quite clear about that. Some interpreted that as a bit of a slapdown, in fact, of Jenny Harries. And I remember sitting there thinking, my goodness, people are talking about Christmas parties again. We have the uncertainties of what happens in the next few weeks and months with Omicron coming up. This is going to be in people's minds again. Now's the moment to do this story.
And you take that decision to do the story, but of course journalists can't act alone. We're all...
To tell you the truth, by this point I sort of want to stop, but I don't know if some of you in the UK have access to this. This is the only reason I'm continuing. I would have stopped already. All right?
Part of bigger news organisations. What happens then? How many people are involved in assessing whether you've got enough to move with it?
Well, I think having been around in this game for quite a while and having one or two scoops under my belt, my superiors trust me that I'm not going to come to them with an allegation that I'm asking them to publish the next day unless I'm sure it's pretty nailed on. My head of news, my news editor, the editor, obviously wanted to be part of that conversation. At no point does anybody ask for me to reveal my sources. That's not how it works. They trust that. They trust.
There's the thing here. There's the thing here. These are what the royal rats are using as their advantage. You know, when they're saying that sources said this and that, they use this kind of thing for journalism and abuse it. But you see, real journalists who's doing the work properly, okay, are using it carefully to avoid lawsuit. Okay, but the royal rats use it to their full advantage, put it on steroid, hack onto people's things, you know, their emails, their telephone and all of that. Okay, this is the part here that I got from this. All right, real journalists are being careful with this kind of things, but those royal rats, they don't care because they use that part as their coverage when they hacking into people's phone. And then especially with that video that I edited last night regarding what's that football name player that who didn't even show up to court because that's the thing that the royal rats did to him. mess up his family connection, because, you know, I mentioned it in the video, when you're talking with someone on the other side of the line, you're thinking it's just you and the other person, not knowing there's a third party eardropping into your conversation, where you could easily blame the other person that you're speaking to, because the information was being heard by a third person. Both of the person who were talking then know the third person was there, and then use that to print things. Alright, so they use these kind of things and on steroid. Alright, so this is the part here that I got out of this. This is real journalists. I had to share this, not only because I don't know if some of you in the UK are not aware of this. I'm pretty sure you guys are. But the fact that many times, because I'm outside of the UK, you know, I always talk about the royal rights and all of this, but at least there's some people who are fighting for you guys. Alright, so there.
An allegation that I'm asking them to publish the next day, unless I'm sure it's pretty nailed on. My head of news, my news editor, the editor, obviously wanted to be part of that conversation. At no point does anybody ask for me to reveal my sources. That's not how it works. They trust that they trust in and faith in me. But I do sort of present the evidence and talk them through the story, and they all agreed that was the moment to run the story.
So you decided to run the story on Tuesday of last week, but were you ready to go with it actually quite a lot earlier?
I suppose I could have pulled it together quickly. I mean, none of it was actually written as I sat there in the number 10.
You know, it's very hard for her when everyone at that party don't want to speak. It's very hard for her, but she had to make sure her information is concrete. So you could understand her. When everyone in that party are on the same page, most of them, well, I think all of them don't want to speak. When you hear that other lady who was talking at the podium, she's like, what's the answer? This kind of thing. She wants to tell the truth, but she knows if she tells the truth, what's going to happen? And look at this. She had to do an apology letter, and then they kick her out of there. This is how those government bullies work. You have to go according to them. You know, if you don't follow their rules and regulation, you know, even if it's not true, you have to do it. And then, I don't know. I don't think I could work in this kind of situation. But let's continue.
Briefing. I had all the information I needed, but I needed still to sit in front of my keyboard and bash it out. And of course, I then did that very quickly earlier in the day. And then, of course, lawyers wanted to have a look, and the news desk wanted to have a look, and the people that put the paper together, the online team, everyone was discussing headlines. It's a bit of an operation.
Yeah, they have to make sure before they publish it, because look what happened to Meghan. If things is not true, what's gonna happen? They're gonna sue her. Alright? This kind of things. So how come they haven't sued her yet? You know, because she knows she has the information. That's the thing here. This is why she's explaining her steps.
That's your experience. We'll come back to it. Paul, let's bring you in. When did you hear about this video?
So we heard about this video some time ago, and it's actually really interesting listening to Pippa explain her story there, because I had a similar experience actually, that we were aware of this video some time ago, but actually sometimes it takes the work of one journalist to help another journalist. And we had some really important considerations when we were looking at this video. I mean, it was filmed ultimately in a private setting, so there's a high bar for publishing that video. It needs the public interest.
Yeah.
And on first look at the video,
that's the thing. That's public interest. This is why they were pursuing that, because this is public interest. This is good journalism. Oh my God, I'm so glad I'm sharing this with you now, because the royal rats have put a stain in the UK, and people from the outside world will think that none of these good journalists exist in there. All right, so that's good. I'm glad I continue listening, because I would have stopped already.
Before the context of the past few weeks, that bar we didn't feel was met. But when Pippa published her story and the denials began coming out of Downing Street, the public interest transformed, because we were able to demonstrate that perhaps what Downing Street were telling us wasn't quite in line with the way they were talking behind the scenes around the time that the party is alleged to have taken.
And his experience, he was being extra cautious before he put his part out. He knows there was a party taking place the same way as the other lady, but the other lady had a more concrete evidence to go forth with her reporting. But him, then once the public interest start gravitating toward the lady's reporting, and then, you know, it pushes him to continue with his reporting. He knew of it, but he didn't have like concrete evidence. So I could see the fine line he was trying to run here. Okay, so that's something you need to see here. I hope you see it the same way too.
Taking place.
Now hold on, I just want to make sure I've understood this, Paul. Okay. You'd heard about the video. Does that mean someone had actually told you, I've got a video, or maybe even had shown you the video but said we're not going to give you a copy of it yet? Or you just heard rumours around Westminster that a video might exist and someone might have it?
Good question.
We've been working on this story for several weeks.
Oh.
So we were aware of the video, and we were working through the legals. And we have
there it is. The legals. They had to make sure they're following the law. That's the thing. I knew he was being more careful, but the other lady had more concrete evidence to go with her reporting. So how come they didn't sue her yet for printing lies? That's because it's true. The thing that they're saying is true. Alright? But with him, not knowing the other lady had some partial of those the evidence, I guess. But for him, he was not only being careful, but make sure before he put his thing out, he was following the law. There it is. I was right on the money. Alright? Let's move it back a little bit. Oh, I didn't know I was gonna. Now I'm interested.
We're not going to give you a copy of it yet, or you just heard rumours around Westminster that a video might exist and someone might have it?
We've been working on this story for several weeks.
Okay.
So we were aware of the video, and we were working through the legals. And we have a fantastic lawyer here, John Battle, who was working with us in great detail on all of that.
Wow.
But like I say,
he's very, I know I'm stopping in between, but he's being very cautious. I was right. I was right. All right, let's continue.
Things changed when Pippa's story was published.
Now, we were looking at the video and, of course, the impact that it's had, and we noticed some questions coming up again and again about it. So if you don't mind, I'd just like to ask you them. Did ITV pay for the video?
No, we did not pay for the video.
You see, this is what happened. When you have good journalists, you don't pay for this stuff. Okay? Like the other ones calling other people to come and talk negative things, untruthful things, to pay them to say this thing. That's not journalism. This is it. This is it. The same way the Oprah interview did with Harry and Meghan, they didn't pay them. They wanted their truth to be out. And at the same time, CBS and Oprah made some money off of it. But that's a different story. But let's continue listening.
Why did you choose to blur some faces in it, but not everyone's?
So again, Roz, that comes back to public interest. And obviously, the repercussions for those who are identified can be quite severe, as we've seen with Allegra.
Very good. He's walking in a very fine line. He doesn't want to be sued. That's why he did that. I understand him.
Stratton's resignation today.
Look at it.
And we felt that we only wanted to identify those people who had said something that was in the public interest.
See?
And there were people in the room who were participants, but
I'm sorry. I had to rewind it a little bit because I was talking over it. Let's listen, okay?
And why did you choose to blur some faces in it, but not everyone's?
So again, Roz, that comes back to public interest, and obviously the repercussions for those who are identified can be quite severe, as we've seen with Allegra Stratton's resignation today. And we felt that we only wanted to identify those people who had said something that was in the public interest. And there were people in the room who were participants, but perhaps not particularly active participants in the rehearsal that day, or they had made interventions that we didn't feel met that test of being in the public interest.
And the final question we've seen being asked a lot is whether this was filmed off a screen or whether it's actually the original video.
Good question.
That's something that I can't get into with you, Roz, because as Pippa was saying earlier, protection of our sources is just of the utmost importance to us.
You could understand this. This is the thing here. Real journalists know when they do their things the right way, they have a reason why they want to protect their sources. But the Daily Fair, Melon Sunday, and all of that use this small little clause to their fullest while they're doing their unethical things. hacking into people's phone to pretend, so you know, to make allegation and claims when the other person, where both parties who were originally talking over the phone don't even know they were there. This is what they did to, in terms of Sienna Miller, and I believe it's Gasco or something like that, and Harry and Harry's ex, and all of this. All right, they use this part, this specific thing, to their own advantage. This is good journalists. Oh my God, you guys, I'm sorry I had doubt in the UK. I had doubt. Oh my goodness. Good job. Let's continue.
That means not just protecting the source's identity, but protecting how material comes into our hands.
That's right.
Pippa and Paul, I must ask you, when you're in the middle of the maelstrom, when the information is out there and it's having an impact, are you talking to the sources who gave you this information? Pippa, are you in touch with them saying, look, you see, I told you if you'd given me this information, it would have this impact?
I'm in touch with sources, but normally, and then certainly in this case, it's more of a case of, you know, are you okay? Are you, you know, how are you finding all of this? Sort of almost like a sort of a support, I guess.
There's a duty.
This is the thing here. When the that just brings to mind one of the things that I said in one of those videos regarding Prince Andrew's files, where I said it will take one person who have the guts to make copies of Andrew's files when a reputable person is in power or in office to look at this his behavior or his file in a concrete matter. They destroy it because it doesn't benefit to the firm. But if one, okay, I always said there's always one. If one person who work in the police thing decided to make copy of those files and wait until there's a right person in the position to make the thing clear to people, this is the only way we will get the truth. The same way that one person made that video and put it out there. I always said there's always one. There's another proof of that. Let's listen.
Duty of care.
Oh, definitely, absolutely, and that continues.
I'm gonna rewind it a little bit. Let me rewind it a little bit. Okay, it's almost done, but I want
information. Pippa, are you in touch with them saying, look, you see, I told you if you'd given me this information, it would have this impact?
I'm in touch with sources, but normally, and then certainly in this case, it's more of a case of, you know, are you okay? Are you, you know, how are you finding all of this? Sort of almost like a sort of a support, I guess.
There's a duty of care.
Oh, definitely, absolutely, and that continues. I mean, I'm, you know, still in touch with some sources from the Barnard Castle scoop. That goes on for a very long time.
Paul, have you spoken to the person who gave you the video?
We have done, and I would absolutely repeat what Pippa's just said about duty of care. And I think that's something you have to bear in mind all the way through, is that all of us on this show today are used to operating in a media environment. Often the sources that we're speaking to have no experience whatsoever of the media until the point at which they're thrust into that spotlight. And that, to some degree, was the case with our source for our story yesterday. So we absolutely have a duty of care to them to make sure they're okay, that they're dealing with that pressure okay, because they're anxious, like any source would be, about being found out. And we have to make sure that we kind of hold their hand through that, really.
Wow. This is why good journalists, they have to protect their sources. Can you imagine if they out them out, what's going to happen with all those bullies over there? Look what they did to Harry and Meghan, who had no business with these people. Look how they hunted them down. Can you imagine? Oh my goodness. Let's not imagine. Let's move to the next one. All right. So funny how you've not reported the Labour Party. One sorry there's Christmas staff meeting. Doesn't suit the BBC agenda though, I guess. Okay, proper journalism. That's right. What the BBC could be, once was, and hopefully will be again, it must take truth to power and hold the power to account. That's a very good one. Okay, what the BBC could be. This is literally a BBC video. Alright, let's see here. Okay, are you pretending that it's like this? Because we all know it isn't. Imagine if it were, would that be better? Okay, personally, I don't want the BBC programming to be like this. Some news, yes, not so much on the Blue Peter. All BBC programming replaced by Ross Atkins describing TV programs in 5 minutes. But I'm not in the UK. I don't want to continue because Let's do the right thing. Yeah. For me to question this kind of thing. Alright, so I think this probably gonna be, oh my god, so many little videos by itself. Alright, all this gonna be on APTS Team Sussex. Alright, let's go to the next tweet. I don't know if what I just showed you is gonna be on same video. Alright, next tweet. Okay, Prince Andrew lawyer has asked the judge to dismiss Virginia, okay, RSV, I think that's Virginia Godfrey, okay, that's her on Twitter, case arguing that New York Child Victim Act, which she is using to sue him, is flawed because it satisfies minors as under 18 when the state's age of consent and Godfrey's age at the time alleged assault is 17. So does that mean he is admitting? He's admitting it? That was a reason. What I think when I first come across all of this, I show you the age of consent for different states in the US. I think the in New York it's either 17. I'll try to put a screenshot of this. Alright, let's see here. Lawyers Andrew Brettler also requested to keep certain evidence from the Duke, who was seen out horse riding on Monday, secret because parts of the Godfrey's claim are sealed. In other news, U.S. District Judge Lewis Kaplan delayed the filing request for the letter rogatory to January 14. Prince Andrew broadly smiled as he enjoyed horse riding ahead of sexual assault hearing. As I look at him here, this is what happened. You got the abuser enjoying his life like nothing ever happened, but the victim is scarred for life. Scar for life. That's the thing here. I'm gonna leave that baggage for God. In the US, one thing I always say, the US care about dogs and children. Let's see how this moves forward. Alright, Prince Andrew broadly smiled as he enjoyed horse riding ahead of sexual assault hearing. Okay, and B, the lawyer's request is not admissible of any interaction between Prince Andrew and Godfrey. The filing simply attempts to argue that the law under which she is suing him is unconstitutional. I'm laughing here because what did they do with the Met Police? They claim that he didn't do anything wrong. Everything is erased. Okay, let's see here. It's word he's used every defense other than I didn't do it. I suppose that at the point where he denied meeting her. That's this. Okay, I thought he has never met her, has no recollection, therefore he should have any. That's why anything to worry about if she is lying doesn't add up. Does he remember sleeping with her or something? That's me. I'm like, that's the part. Yep, such a shameful thing, and some will say, quote, this, and quote, is pinnacle of human being, okay, the UK has to offer. Recollection may vary. Virginia never gave her consent. She was a slave. That's the main thing here. She didn't consent this. This is the root of the case. Exactly. Let's see. There's one comment on that. There it is. Someone said exactly. It's a rape case. Rape is a bed at any age. Age of consent doesn't matter if you are not consenting in the first place. Also, Virginia was transported across state line for this sex act, meaning it can become federal case. Okay, so he basically admitting that he had sex with a 17-year-old girl who was just a few years older than his own daughter at the time. Also, it doesn't really get him off the trafficking aspect of this heinous crime. Okay, another point that has nothing to do with New York's Child Victim Act, but worth noting, is that Virginia was under the age of consent when she said she was trafficked to Prince Andrew the third time, and the U.S. Virgin Islands, where the legal age of consent is 18. You know, and that there is no consent where the victim is being trafficked. Okay, and yet that fool said he never met Virginia. This is baggage for God. Baggage for God. Exactly, yapping about her age of consent when, quote, he doesn't not know her, and, quote, he has never met her, end quote. But wait, they never even meet. Okay, trafficked minors can't consent. That's right. That's the thing here. Okay, trafficked adult can't consent either, so whatever the age, Andy is guilty. That's right. Okay, is this a serious lawyer argument? Oh my. But guess what? a lawyer probably advised him all the legal aspect that he knows how. But when the lawyer of Andrew advised him of certain things, and Andrew doesn't care and said that to the court, he has no other option but to do it. He has to do it. All right, because that's his client, and then he's just gonna have to find a way to go around it to defend him in that ground. Okay, and then this is why Virginia's lawyer asked for what do you call this when they have people to tell you if you're guilty or not. Okay, is this a serious lawyer argument? Oh my God, this is called the desperation defense. Exactly, that's exactly that. The lawyer probably told him all possible option and all of that, and then the dumbass is bringing different things to eventually probably gonna just like William strengthen Virginia's case because they do everything that they thought doesn't stick, and then at some point they're gonna tell on themselves. That's pretty much it. But I'm sure the lawyer is probably advising him, telling him don't say this, don't say that, but they're probably pushing him to say, guess what, the lawyer needs to make money. Okay, why does the law have to be so confusing? Bullying Virginia must not stop or get intimidated by the prince's vast wealth, status, or protection. We need to see a world where no one is above the law and where action have consequences. We've got your back, Virginia. Alright, TikTok voiceover, how to admit guilt to a crime while trying to avoid accountability for committing the crime. Alright, there's more. Oh, that was it. Alright, so let me read what's on here and then that's it. Consent is different from force. Talk about desperation. OMG, they are trying to drop that case, guilty as F. Okay, so he remembers her now. This is what everybody, they don't listen because those royals, they don't listen. In their mind, when they're thinking through the tactic, they think is the brilliant thing. Look how William pretty much gave Meghan the case, even strengthening Meghan's case. So when they were telling him, do not go on national television to discuss this, what did he do? In his mind, he thought that was the best thing ever. Guess what? On the court filing, go to my APTS Team. Well, this video is probably gonna be on APTS Team Sussex because I know POYTE is not gonna, YouTube is not gonna accept it. They're gonna flag it. So when he was talking about the thing, Virginia's how do you call this? That interview he did on national TV, I don't know, was it on BBC or something like that, where he was sweating, he doesn't sweat, he never met her, all of these things. Alright, they told him not to do it, but in his mind, when he was sitting at home planning, he thought that was the brilliant idea. But guess what happened? Virginia's lawyer used some of his word against him, and then there it is again. I mean, look at this. Most people on Twitter who don't even have a legal background can see how he's entangling himself. He should just shut himself up or settle this thing out of court. Settle it out of court. Alright, so he remember her now, but I thought he was innocent. Okay, hold up. Is that an omission that the client had sexual intercourse with that particular or any female aged 17 years old? Okay, tell us you're guilty without telling us you're guilty. Okay, or you're arguing age of consent when you didn't know her. Not that consent matters when you are trafficked minors. You can't give consent. Okay, the nerve. I'm also sure that she wasn't the only minor. Yeah. Yep. So that's it with this. I have 2 more videos. Alright, let's do a prayer. Prayer for what? Prayer for protecting our children. Prayer to protect our children. To protect our children. Okay? And the truth too. Alright, let's see this one. Heavenly Father, protect my children from violence, drug use, pedophiles, kidnappers, and accident as they go out to face this harsh, cruel world. Protect them on their going out and coming in, at school, at play, while traveling, or even just hanging out. Send your angels to guard and watch over them as they go out to face reality. Amen. That's a good one. All right, that's it. All right, so please take a moment to subscribe, like, and should I do another prayer for those journalists who's fighting the truth? Because this is the only thing I think we have, our last defense. All right, let me copy this. I'll come back to it. Prayer for protect our journalists. Okay, God knows I'm talking about the good journalist who's doing the good work, make people aware of what's going on. All right, so they can make educational guesses when they're voting, so they don't go blind on the voting booth when they're voting. All right, let's do, oh, is that the same? No, that's different. Let's do this one. Okay, dear Heavenly Father, my heart is burdened over the unforeseen threat that come against my marriage, as well as against other people's marriage. There are so many things in this world that can bring us down, hurt us, or threaten to steal our joy. I pray protection over all of us, that no matter what the circumstances are, we remain steadfast, trusting your will for our lives. I also pray our marriages are stronger than ever, able to withstand any such threat. In Jesus' name, amen. So that did not really hit the spot. Prayer to protect. Let me remove the word our. Let's just leave journalists. You see something else picked up, because these people are doing the work for us, and we need to use their information in a way we could fact check them. All right, we could fact check them, but at least we know some of the stuff that's going on. In one of my videos, I don't know if it's an APTS Team Sussex, these are people who's using the Bible, Jesus' name in vain, God's name in vain, all right, to do unethical stuff. These people need to, my God, pray for journalists and national media. Okay, day 23. Okay, not much. It's taking me too long. I need to stop. Okay, marriage prayer for peace at home. Not that one. I hope when I'm looking for something like that, you know what, because it popped up, let me read it for you, but that's not what I was looking. So anyone it's helping, I hope it helps you in a way. Marriage prayer for peace at home. Lord, I pray for your peace to rule richly in my marriage and in my home. You said in your word that the peace you give passes all understanding. I receive that peace right now. I choose to let the peace of Christ rest in my heart. As the peace of Christ rests in my heart, it will extend to my marriage. All right. Let's do one more. Let's hopefully prayer, not two, four journalists. 4 journalists. Okay, let's remove protect. 4 journalists doing the work for the people. Let's see if something better popped up, because I really want to throw that for those journalists. Let's do this one. Okay, a social media prayer. Okay, Lord, bless all bloggers, inspire all Instagrammers, bring wisdom and hope to all on WhatsApp. My faith shine through on Facebook. May all Twitters be oh, but let me read it. Let me not laugh. Okay, may all Twitters be temperate and tone. May the spirit be within those who Snapchat and Skype. Give grace to all on Google+. May those and Flickr always be able to picture you. Watch over all those on Tumblr. Grace all digital missionaries with wisdom, courage, understanding, love, and trust in you. But you know, I'm laughing at it, but when you think about it, it's not bad at all. When you go on YouTube, specifically on YouTube, like my channel for instance, if each one of us, okay, see a truth that is happening where the big companies are not sharing it, okay, maybe that could help. I was laughing at this, but at the end I started to understanding, because what happened is that those huge media companies hijack, okay, they literally hijack the term of information, how they present the information to us. It's little people like me, other people with channels, Well, there's one something Brian. I follow him on YouTube, who will how will I say it? Translate some of the topics that's going on in Washington and New York. I mean, in the US, okay, for people who's not really following all the nitsy bitsy things that's going on with politics. So it takes each one of us. So this is what I get out of this. At first I was laughing and this and that, but at the end of it, yeah, I think it's true. Okay, because those huge companies have hijacked our way of information. They use it on steroids to benefit them. Look how I was talking about, I'm not sure if this video is gonna be with it, but I recorded within that where I'm talking right now, where those two journalists saying that they asking, you know, wondering if their sources are okay, whoever give them the information to put the word out for me, and now me come across it, sharing it with you. So it takes each one of us. So yeah, I think this is it. I was laughing at it at first, but it makes sense. Okay, it takes each one of us. All right, for us who have passion. Look at this. I started this channel, you know, out of, you know, just once in a while I'll be posting certain things. Then one day I come across a tweet. I felt like it was funny. Maybe someone else should see it and stuff like that. Little did I know, as I come across some really funny things to me, because believe me, I could be very serious, but when I see silly stuff, I want other people to laugh too. But as I started sharing with you guys, that was way before 200. All right, someone came across my channel and said, share some more. Look at this. Every day, the things that I'm interested in, I'm sharing with you. Okay, some of you may not like politics, but these are the things that when I'm not sharing the funny stuff, okay, on my own, looking at Twitter, these are the things, those type of information I'm looking for myself. And then this is why I said it's not work to me, because I'm looking at those things and I wanted to share it with you. Now you make it part of my day, because you see I have videos almost every day. Why? Because I'm on Twitter looking at information. How is my life is gonna be shaped tomorrow, the next day, and my kids and the future. So as I go through it, recording it is not a big deal to me at all. Editing is. Alright, editing is, but why not share it with you? Alright, so this prayer I think is spot on. Alright, I was laughing at it at the beginning, but I think it's spot on. Alright, so please take a moment to subscribe, like, and share. And if you want to support my channel, there's a PayPal link in the description. If the link is working, don't hesitate to let me know, and I'll find out what's going on and fix it. And if you don't feel like donating, that's okay. Take one of those commercials that is being played in this video, just watch it for me, and then that's it. You know, thanks for your support. That's it. Now I have two more. Now it's gonna be about Denmark.
It is a great privilege to be with all of you today.
You know, we ask for forgiveness and please come back.
are all in this together. And if I may speak personally, we are all in this together. Because asking for help was one of the best decisions that I ever made. You will be continually amazed how life changes for the better